Commander Vex-9 adjusted his breathing apparatus with the practiced ease of someone who had survived 43 different atmospheric catastrophes. Today's poison gas drill at the Galactic Military Academy was supposed to be routine. Standard procedure. Nothing more than another boring exercise to test the new cadet's survival instincts. Should have known better when he saw the humans in his group. Attention, cadets. Vex-9's voice crackled through the intercom system. This is a Level 7 atmospheric contamination simulation. You have exactly 30 minutes to reach the emergency bunkers before the synthetic toxins flood this entire sector. The Zephyrian cadets immediately began checking their emergency gear with methodical precision. The Carillion students started their breathing exercises, preparing their bodies for extended oxygen conservation. The Nexari youth activated their biofilters and moved toward the designated safe zones, and the humans? Well, the humans were having a conversation about food. "Hey Marcus," called out Cadet Riley Thompson, completely ignoring the blaring warning sirens. "Did you remember to pack those marshmallows in your emergency kit?" Marcus Webb turned around, his emergency mask dangling loosely around his neck like some kind of bizarre fashion accessory. "Oh man, I totally forgot. This would have been perfect for roasting them." Vex-9 felt his 3 hearts skip a beat. Did these primitive beings not understand the concept of mortal danger? Cadets Thompson and Webb. This is not a recreational activity. Move to your assigned positions immediately. But Commander, Riley responded with the kind of cheerful enthusiasm usually reserved for birthday parties. Poison gas means fire, right? Fire means heat. Heat means perfect marshmallow roasting conditions. It's just basic chemistry. The other alien cadets had stopped their emergency preparations entirely. They were staring at the humans with expressions ranging from confusion to outright horror. Cadet Zilla from the Hegemony Worlds whispered something in her native tongue that roughly translated to "These creatures are broken." Marcus was now rummaging through his survival pack with the dedication of someone searching for buried treasure. Wait. I think I've got some chocolate bars in here too. We could make proper s'mores. S'mores? Vex-9's translator struggled with the unfamiliar term. What in the name of the 7 moons are s'mores? Oh, you've never had s'mores? Riley's eyes lit up like someone had just offered her the secrets of the universe. Commander, you are seriously missing out on one of humanity's greatest achievements. It's marshmallows, chocolate, and graham crackers all smushed together into pure perfection. The warning systems were now flashing red. The computerized voice announced, "Contamination protocol initiated. Toxic gas release in T-15 minutes." Every non-human cadet was now in full panic mode. Except for one small problem. They had all stopped running to listen to the humans discuss dessert recipes during what should have been a life-or-death situation. "Focus, people!" Vex-9 bellowed, though he had to admit he was oddly curious about these s'mores things. "The gas will melt your respiratory systems." "Actually, Commander," Marcus said, pulling out what appeared to be a small electronic device, "I've been scanning the atmospheric composition they're planning to release. It's mostly sulfur dioxide with some added nitrogen compounds. Nasty stuff for most species, but humans have been breathing worse air in industrial cities for centuries." Riley nodded sagely. "My grandmother used to live in Pittsburgh back in the old days. She always said the air there could strip paint off a wall. Built character, though." Vex-9 stared at them. "Are you telling me that your species regularly breathes poison?" "Well, when you put it like that, it sounds way more dramatic than it actually is," Riley laughed. "We just call it Tuesday in the city." The other cadets were now completely frozen. Not because of fear, but because they were witnessing something that defied every known law of biological survival. The humans were not just unafraid of the poison gas drill. They were treating it like a camping trip. Marcus had found his chocolate bars and was now examining them with scientific precision. "These might work, but they're not the right kind for optimal melting. We need something with a higher cocoa butter content for proper s'more construction." T-10 minutes to gas release, the computer announced helpfully. "You know what?" Riley said, finally putting on her breathing mask but leaving it unsealed. "Maybe we should help the others get to safety first. We can always roast marshmallows later." "Good point," Marcus agreed. "Plus, this synthetic stuff probably won't give us the authentic campfire flavor anyway." They began jogging toward the emergency bunkers, but at a pace so leisurely that several alien cadets were hyperventilating just watching them. Vex-9 followed, his mind reeling. In 40 years of military service, he had never encountered a species that treated deadly atmospheric hazards as minor inconveniences. These humans were either the bravest beings in the galaxy, or the most insane, possibly both. T-5 minutes. The humans had reached the bunker entrance and were now helping other cadets with their emergency equipment. Riley was explaining proper breathing techniques to a terrified Carillion, while Marcus was checking seal integrity on his Epherian's protective gear. "There you go, buddy," Marcus said reassuringly to the trembling alien. "Just remember to keep calm and breathe normally. The gas can't hurt you if you don't panic." Vex-9 realized something that made his blood run cold. The humans weren't just surviving this drill. They were excelling at it. Not because they had better equipment or superior training, but because they genuinely didn't seem to understand that they should be afraid, and somehow, that made them incredibly effective leaders. Gas release initiated. All personnel remain in designated safe zones. The bunker doors sealed with a satisfying hiss, trapping 37 cadets and one increasingly bewildered commander inside what was supposed to be a sterile emergency shelter. Outside, monitoring equipment confirmed that the training facility was now filled with enough synthetic toxins to kill most known species within minutes. Inside the bunker, the humans had somehow started a card game. "Got any threes?" Riley asked Marcus, completely ignoring the fact that deadly chemicals were swirling just beyond the reinforced walls. "Go fish," Marcus replied, then turned to address the room full of terrified aliens. "Anyone else want to join? We've got plenty of cards." Cadet Zilla's voice was barely a whisper. "How are you so calm? We could die in here if the seals fail." Riley looked up from her cards with genuine confusion. "Die? From this? Oh honey, this is nothing compared to a chemistry lab accident. Remember when Professor Klein mixed the wrong compounds and turned half the classroom purple for a week? That was hilarious," Marcus chuckled. "Though I still think the green phase was worse. Made everyone look like sick vegetables." Commander Vex-9 was frantically checking his monitoring equipment. Something was wrong. The atmospheric readings outside were showing unusual fluctuations, and the computer systems were displaying error messages he had never seen before. "Commander." One of his technicians burst through the emergency communication channel. "We have a problem. The gas mixture is reacting with the ventilation system. It's creating some kind of acidic compound." Perfect. Just perfect. What was supposed to be a simple training exercise was turning into an actual emergency. The synthetic gas was eating through the air filtration systems throughout the facility. "How long before it breaches the bunker?" Vex-9 demanded. "Maybe 20 minutes, sir. The acid is corroding the main air processing units." Every alien cadet in the bunker started panicking simultaneously. Some were hyperventilating, others were praying to their various deities, and at least 3 were writing what appeared to be final messages to their families. Riley looked around at the chaos inside. Okay, everyone needs to chill out for a second. Marcus, you still have that portable analyzer thingy?" "Always," Marcus said, pulling out his device and already scanning the air near the ventilation intake. Interesting. The pH levels are dropping fast, but it's not actually that dangerous. It's basically turning into weak vinegar." "Vinegar?" Vex-9 stared at him. "That's impossible. The computer models showed this would create a Class 9 corrosive." "Well, your computer models didn't account for human environmental standards," Riley said matter-of-factly. "We've been living with industrial pollution for so long that our safety equipment is built to handle way worse stuff than this." She stood up and walked over to the emergency supply locker, pulling out what looked like a modified maintenance suit. "These standard-issue protective gears are designed for the worst-case scenarios humans have encountered. Which, no offense to your gas mixture, but it's really not that impressive." Marcus nodded in agreement. "Plus, Riley here grew up near a sulfur mine. She's practically immune to this kind of atmospheric contamination." "I am not immune," Riley protested. "I just have really good lung capacity and a high tolerance for bad smells." She was already suiting up in the protective gear, checking seals and connections with practiced efficiency. "I'm going out there to fix your ventilation system before the acid eats through something actually important." The entire bunker went silent. Even the card game stopped. "You cannot go out there," Vex-9 said firmly. "That gas will kill you in minutes." Riley paused at the airlock door and turned back with a grin that was equal parts reassuring and terrifying. "Commander, I once spent 6 hours in a coal mine fire helping evacuate trapped workers. This is basically a spa day compared to that." "She's not exaggerating," Marcus added helpfully. "Riley's got more hazardous environment certifications than most industrial safety inspectors." Before anyone could stop her, Riley had activated the airlock and stepped into the contaminated corridor. Through the small observation window, they watched her walk casually through clouds of toxic gas like she was strolling through a park. Her voice crackled through the communication system. "Okay, I found the problem. Your ventilation intake is clogged with some kind of crystallized residue. Probably from the reaction between the synthetic compounds and the air recycling filters. She was already working, her movements efficient and confident. Marcus, can you walk me through the bypass procedure for the secondary filtration system? Already pulling up the schematics, Marcus replied, completely unfazed by the fact that his friend was currently breathing poison. 20 minutes later, Riley returned to the bunker, slightly sweaty but otherwise perfectly fine. The atmospheric readings were back to normal, and the emergency was over. So, she said, pulling off her helmet and shaking out her hair, anyone still want to play cards? I think I was winning. Commander Vex-9 looked at the two humans, then at his instruments, then back at the humans. In his official report, he would write that the drill had been completed successfully with no casualties. What he wouldn't write was his growing suspicion that humanity might be the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because they were aggressive or warlike, but because they had absolutely no concept of what should be considered dangerous, and somehow, that made them utterly fearless in situations that would paralyze any rational being. The other cadets were staring at Riley like she had just performed a miracle. Which, from their perspective, she basically had. Next time, Riley said cheerfully, we should definitely bring those marshmallows. I bet that gas would have given them a really interesting flavor.